Yo, what's up? What's up? What's up, man? I'm back again. Glad to be here. Good to see y'all, man. Wanted to just come in uh, because I got to give y'all a follow up. We talked about Thanksgiving, man, and I wanted to give y'all a follow up for that. You know, the sister in law was coming to town, and it was her first, major holiday with the family. So I wanted to give a follow up on that because I told y'all I would, man. And I want to talk about some other things too that have been on my mind. Um, when I used to do this show regularly, I would talk about those things, but I was trying to get my nerve built back up and trying to get my feet up under me and trying to you know really see if I was going to get into this thing again. But I've gotten stirred up here in the last couple of weeks, so I think I'll talk about it a little bit. I do want to say um, I appreciate all of y'all that checked on me when I was dealing with my fractured rib. Not completely out of the woods yet. I'm feeling about 93, 94%. So I'm feeling pretty good. Um, what I did find out, when I saw some other records, what I found out was that not only did I have a fractured rib, but I had a partially collapsed lung as well. And so I was dealing with that, but I'm feeling good. Rib is healing. I think the collapsed lung situation is fixed. I don't really feel anything from that per se. So everything is coming along. So I'm feeling pretty good as it relates to um, uh, my my broken rib and partially collapsed lung. So no major long lasting effects from that as of yet. I'm still recovering. Again, thank y'all for checking on me, texting me, calling me, sending me messages. I appreciate y'all for doing that. So last time we talked, uh, Thanksgiving was on the way, and my new sister in law was coming, and it would have been her first time really around the family. She didn't get the full experience because she wasn't around, like my cousins and uncles and all of them. So it was just us. Um, um, it went well. It went well to say the least. It went well. Um, she did bring a charcuterie board to snack on before the meal. And my brother and I were like, that ain't how we do it down here. We snack on what's being cooked. What's being served for dinner. That's what we snack on between the meal. We snack on, some of the ribs, some of the ham, some of the turkey. That's what we snack on. Not the charcuterie board. But she came and she was there. It was interesting. It was interesting. And don't get me wrong. I like her. I do. She just comes from a different culture. She comes from a different place, and so it was entertaining. Had a good time. Really enjoyed it. Uh, you know, we did what we could. Um, you know, it was interesting. It was interesting. She won't be here for Christmas. Unfortunately, she's going out of the country, so she won't be around for Christmas. But the charcuterie board did take me out for a minute. Oh, and so my mother makes sweet potato pies, and I know you think your mother does good. That okay? I got that. Whatever. But my mother absolutely makes the best sweet potato pies this side of the Mississippi River, hands down, no questions asked. Right. So anyway, so my mother makes four. 4 sweet potato pies. Um, and the sister-in-law gets a slice. Now, the first thing she does is, now, I don't know about y'all. Maybe y'all are bougie. Maybe y'all haven't been brought up like I was brought up. But we eat our sweet potato pie with our hands. You grab it and you just, So she eats it with a fork, and there was a small window where there was a look, right? Like she was trying to figure out what is this, because if you just look at them, sweet potato pie and pumpkin pie look similar. So she was thinking she was getting ready to eat pumpkin pie. And so the taste between a pumpkin pie and a sweet potato pie are totally different. And so when she tasted it, she was surprised because it did not taste like she was expecting. And so she's eating this sweet potato pie. She was like, "Oh, hmm, that's good. It's good. It really is. It's good." So so that was her introduction to sweet potato pie. But she enjoyed it. But there was some comical moments, but it was good. It was good. No major issues, no major problems. It was pretty good. Uh, so that's the Thanksgiving follow up. Don't know when I'll get to see her again because, like I said, she's going out of the country for Christmas. But man, I'm telling y'all, it's hilarious times with my maternal side of the family for the holidays. Anyway, it's your typical black family. We've got the drunk uncle, we've got the bougie auntie, we've got the cousins that always show up with somebody different every year. So we've got that typical thing. We're country, and so it was a good time. And so I'm looking forward to Christmas with the family, and we'll see how that goes. Unfortunately, again, she won't be there because she'll be out of the country. But that's what's coming up. But let me move on to some other topics, because I've been I've been quiet lately, and hadn't really talked about it because it's been all over the place. It's been in all the news. Everybody has chimed in. Everybody has given an opinion, and I just who am I? What is my voice that I should lend any commentary to this thing? But I did want to talk about it a little bit. This whole Kyrie, Kanye, um, Jerry Jones, and Brett Favre, and listen, I in no way condone anti-Semitism, nor racism in any form or fashion. Um, I think Kyrie um, was, when I look at it, I think Kyrie happened upon something or some new information that he had not heard before or he had not seen, and so you know a- he shared this new information, this new revelation, if you will, that he had come upon, and it intrigued him to some degree, and so he just shared it. I don't know. I don't remember him really making any commentary about the movie. I don't remember him really giving any thoughts about the movie, and I could be mistaken, but I just don't remember that. But just from him posting about that movie, Hebrews to Negroes, it it incensed, especially the Jewish community. It incensed them, and there was a big uproar. And I'm not saying whether the uproar was wrong or right, but there was an uproar, and noise was being made. Of course, we saw that some Jewish fans of the Nets did show up, and they made a very public protest there in the in the arena while Kyrie was playing. And then, we saw the NBA and the Nets organization. We saw them respond to this. As a matter of fact, Kyrie was suspended for a time, and and then there were some demands. I'm trying to see if I can pull up what these demands were. But the Nets organization suspend him. Um, um, and then he has these demands that are leveled against him, or towards him by the NBA. And it was when the NBA leveled these demands that I thought, okay, now we're going a bit too far with this, because here it is. They required of him to apologize and condemn the film he promoted, make a $500,000 donation to anti-hate causes. He was to complete sensitivity training, complete anti Semitism training, and meet with the ADL and Jewish leaders. Those were the demands that were leveled against Kyrie after this whole incident blew up. And along the way, Kyrie, he didn't really issue an apology as much as he was trying to um, explain why he did it, or help people to see where he was coming from. And for a good segment, that was not good enough. They needed him to denounce unequivocally anti-Semitism and anti-hate. And for a while, there was a bit of stubbornness on Kyrie's part, and whether he was right or wrong about that, that's I can't speak to that. But they wanted him to denounce unequivocally anti-Semitism, and for a minute he wouldn't, and then finally he did. And then of course they give these six demands that they want him, and I just thought that at the point that they put these six demands on him, now they're taking it a bit far. Again, not that we advocate anti-Semitism, not that we advocate hate or racism in any form or any way, but now you're making these demands of him, and I just don't think that was the right message that the NBA or the Nets organization should have sent. Because I remember, and I say this quote all the time, and I believe it was Abraham Lincoln that said it, that a man convinced against his will is of the same opinion still. And so you can make a person do something that they really and truly do not believe, but it does not change how they think about a situation. It does not change how they perceive a situation. And so you can put these demands on him, and he can do all of these things outwardly, but none of that will equate to him really having a change of mind or having a change of thought process. And so when they went as far as to level these demands on Kyrie, I just thought that was a bit much. That now you're overextending. Now you're trying to make a public spectacle of Kyrie. Now you're trying to make a public example of Kyrie, and I just believe that at the point that they put these demands on him, I think they went a bit far. Now, that there are some juxtapositions when we look at this Kyrie situation, because there are a lot of incidents that are happening to celebrities and people within sports, that are juxtaposed to that. When we look at this whole situation with Brett Favre and him taking money from the poorest segment of Mississippi, and let me be clear. that Mississippi is one of the poorest states in the nation. They are whenever you look at them, when you look at healthcare, when you look at infant mortality, when you look at education, when you look at any of those things, Mississippi normally ranks at the bottom. And so Mississippi is, by all accounts, a very poor state. Not to mention that they just had a water crisis in the capital city of Jackson. They just had a water crisis, and we hear about Brett Favre attaining monies that were allocated or earmarked for welfare recipients. And let me say this: I don't care what your thought processes are, or what your thoughts are, or what your feelings are about people who are having to receive welfare benefits. That I don't care to hear that. You can keep that to yourself. At the end of the day, each state provides for those who are less fortunate, who are disenfranchised, who are living below poverty. Because what I want you to know, that there are people who are working jobs every day that are still at the poverty level, that have to depend on welfare benefits. There are hardworking people out there that have jobs, have more than one job, that have two and three jobs. But they don't make enough to be able to meet the basic needs of life. There are people who are working several jobs who don't make enough to pay their rent, who don't make enough to put food on the table, who don't make enough to keep the lights on, who don't make enough to be able to put clothes on their backs. And these are people who are working hard every day, and they are still living below the poverty level. And so you can miss me with what your thoughts are about welfare recipients. All of them are not characterized as y'all are trying to characterize them. All of them are not the stereotypical welfare recipient that y'all have created, this caricature of welfare recipients that you all have made up in your minds. Not everybody is like that, and so there are some really hardworking people who are living below poverty, who are receiving welfare benefits. So Brett Favre received money that was allocated or earmarked for welfare recipients. And the money was going to be used, if I remember the story correctly, the money was going to be used to build a gym or a sports complex or something of the other at a school that his daughter was attending. And we heard the story, and seemingly it died down. Now there is still some parts of where we're still hearing it, hearing there, but the noise around what Brett Favre did to the poorest citizens of the state of Mississippi, the noise around that was nowhere as loud as the noise that surrounded Kyrie and this movie that he watched, that, by the way, it is on a very public platform, and nobody went after Jeff Bezos and Amazon for having it available. Nobody went after them for it. And again, I'm not condoning I'm not condoning. I'm coming there, Carlos. I'm on my way there in a minute. I'm not condoning anti-Semitism in any way. All I'm saying is the same energy that you all had for Kyrie needs to be the same energy that's surrounding Brett Favre. The noise the noise that was around Brett Favre, or rather that was around Kyrie, should have been just as loud as it was for Brett Favre. It should have been the same energy. But see what happens. Oh, if I can just be real honest in here, y'all, I might get shadow banned from Facebook for this. But see, because there is this idea in America that many of the recipients of welfare are people of color. Let me just be real honest. Are black people, it's okay because they don't need the money anyway. We don't care about them anyway. And so it's okay if nobody will miss the money. Who's gonna tell it? Who's gonna even find out? We'll keep it hush hush. And see, when it affects black people, when it affects people of color, nobody is going to raise sand. Nobody is going to holler as loud as when Kyrie did something really where he was just going searching, I believe, for information, where he was just introduced to something new, and he made a post about it, but immediately it was jumped on as anti-Semitic. But when Brett Favre steals money from the poorest citizens of Mississippi, and this is in the midst of Jackson, Mississippi being in a water crisis, nobody said anything. We heard about it for a little while, and then it was quietly moved out of the news cycle, and we hear bits and pieces about it. But there is not a time within the last few months, within the last few weeks, that you have not heard anything about Kyrie and him watching that movie, or him having anti-Semitic tropes. And in the same line that we hear about, Kyrie and him watching this movie Hebrews to Negroes, and we have heard nothing about Brett Favre taking this money from the poorest citizens of Mississippi, him receiving this money from the welfare fund, money that was earmarked for welfare recipients. We don't hear anything. We didn't even hear it was not even a speed bump, if you will. It was not even a pebble in the road when it was released. This picture was released that shows Jerry Jones present with other white children when they were trying to integrate the schools in Little Rock, Arkansas. No. And see, the excuse was he was a young boy. It's funny to me. Y'all, and y'all got to just bear with me. Like I said, they may not let me back home after this, but it's funny to me. It's funny to me that when Jerry Jones is pictured at 14 with this crowd in Little Rock, Arkansas, oh, he's just a boy. He was just 14 years old, but nobody said that about Tamir Rice. Nobody said that about Trayvon Martin. You see, little white boys are 14 years old, but at 14 years old, he's a black man. You see, and that's what bothers me about this entire narrative that is being created. I ain't trying to upset. I'm just being honest. And so, we see this picture of Jerry Jones at 14. And he's standing with this crowd, and he gives this asinine explanation. He really diverts the conversation. He really does not speak to it. But what we know is, in the time that Jerry Jones was growing up in Little Rock, that there is no way that he's going to make me believe that he was just there to try to figure out what was going on. Everybody knew that they were getting ready to integrate the schools in Little Rock. Everybody knew that they were getting ready to send black children to the same schools that white children were attending. So much so that the National Guard was on the scene. So this idea that he was going out to see what was going on, he knew what was going on. The conversations were being had. Don't y'all buy this now. The conversations were being had in Jerry Jones's house. The conversations were being held around Jerry Jones's neighborhood. The conversations were being held in the associations that he had. And let me say this, let me be very clear. I'm not saying that maybe he has changed. Maybe he's not of the same mindset that he was when he was 14. Maybe he's grown up. Maybe he's gotten some different associations. Maybe he's gotten some different thought processes, but it's kind of hard to believe when he threatened his players that if they took a knee with Colin Kaepernick, when Colin Kaepernick was in the league, that he would have that they would be fined or they would be out of a job. So while he may have changed, he ain't changed all that much. And so this idea of him just being there because he was curious or he didn't, that's a bold-faced lie. And here is my thing. As much as they drug Kyrie, they asked Kyrie to do 6 different things to show that he was repentant, to show that he didn't believe what he was saying. Again, let me read to you what they asked for Kyrie to do. Apologize and condemn the film he promoted, make a $500,000 donation to anti-hate causes, complete sensitivity training, complete anti-Semitism training, and meet with the ADL, the Anti-Defamation League, and Jewish leaders. And that's what they required of Kyrie. But when this photo showed up, nobody said to Jerry, can you unequivocally say that you are against racism, that you stand against racism? Look at what Blue says. He says, and the NFL doesn't have. These are thoughts that Jerry Jones has, that the NFL doesn't have a racial discrimination, doesn't have racial discrimination in 2021. But we see him standing with a group of white men that are there to block and to protest and to intimidate these young black children that are integrating Little Rock schools. And then we see some of his behaviors here in the last few years. And what you're trying to make me believe is that he's not the same person. But as hard as they were riding for Kyrie and asked him to do all of these things, nobody said to Jerry Jones, we want to hear you unequivocally denounce racism. We want you to unequivocally denounce that the actions that happened that day were not right, that you've changed. Nobody has said we want you to walk through the African American Museum in DC. Nobody has said we want you to sit down with the poorest sectors of people of color in the city of Dallas. Nobody said they wanted him to meet with the NAACP or to meet with the National Action Network or to meet with the 100 Black Men of America or the Divine Nine representation in Dallas. Nobody required that of him. Nobody asked that of him. Nobody's told him to make donations to black causes or to make donations to the Urban League or the NAACP or any of those even to the Boys and Girls Club of Dallas. Nobody asked that of Jerry. Nobody asked him to go through sensitivity training. Nobody asked him to go through anti-hate training. Nobody asked him to go through diversity training, but they had all of this smoke for Kyrie because he posted a picture. He made a post of a movie that he had run across, which I really believe was him sharing something that he had just come into knowledge of. I believe he was just curious, and he had heard some things that he had not heard before that he found interesting, and he decided that he wanted to make a post about it, and they took it it as him being anti-Semitic, and I didn't watch the movie, but I heard that there are some anti-Semitic tropes, that there are some falsehoods, that there are some lies in there. And I believe it. But what we do know is that at the time that the picture is taken of Jerry Jones, that's a real event. That was a real situation. We all know what times the country were in. We know that they were trying to stop segregation. We know that white people would show up to intimidate these young black children that were integrating these schools, but yet nobody made the demands. Nobody had the same energy for Jerry Jones that they had for Kyrie Irving, and I think that's disturbing. But let me tell you why I think. There are two reasons why I believe that we didn't hear all of this fuss around Jerry Jones that we heard around Kyrie Irving. Number one, because they're in two different tax brackets. Jerry Jones is a billionaire, and he is the owner of the most valuable sports franchise in the world, and he is the owner of that team. Whereas Kyrie is a basketball player who is a millionaire for a market in New York, and the Nets ain't even the favorite team in their own city. They're in two different tax brackets. And who is going to tell Jerry Jones? Who's going to hold Jerry Jones accountable? Who is going to make demands of Jerry Jones that Jerry Jones is going to listen to? The other thing is, in the situation dealing with Kyrie, is that the segment that was affected, the demographic that was affected, made noise about the situation. The segment that was affected, the demographic that was affected, made noise about this post that he made. And I'm here to tell my people, we are not making enough noise. We hear about all of this stuff that people are doing to us, and we just let people do it. We let people walk over us. We let people, we let people get away with this. The Jewish community was immediately on top of it. They immediately denounced what he said, and they raised noise to the point that they were not going to let go, that they were not going to walk away silently. They needed some repercussions. They needed some consequences for what Kyrie did. And sadly, we have not made any noise surrounding Brett Favre, nor have we made noise surrounding Jerry Jones. And the people that have the platforms have not made enough noise. They ain't hollering on ESPN. They ain't hollering on Fox Sports. They ain't hollering on all of these places where they have these platforms. As a matter of fact, you got people who are caping for Jerry Jones, who are saying, "Oh well, I know Jerry, and Jerry, and that may be true. Jerry may not be like that now, but he needs to publicly denounce racism. He needs to publicly denounce any type of hate speech, any form of racism, any form of disenfranchisement." But it's hard to do that when just in 2017, 2016, when you told your black players that if they thought about kneeling, they'd be looking for a job. But see, and see, there's not enough noise, and we've got to get to a place where we're not just allowing people to run over us and treat us any kind of way. We've got to demand the respect that we are expecting from people. We can't just let them get away. We can't just act like, oh, it's this, it's that. No, we have to hold people accountable for the things that they do that negatively affect us. And so that's what I believe is the difference between what happened with Kyrie and what we see happening with Brett Favre and um, Jerry Jones. Um, but um and until we start making that noise, until we start having these conversations, they're going to always run over us. They're going to always treat us like this. They're going to always keep us on the margins. They're going to always trivialize our pain, our trauma. They're always going to overlook our hurts and tell us to get over it until we start demanding accountability. That's why I was grateful for what LeBron said. LeBron was very bold. I'm glad that he used his platform in that way. LeBron was like, I'm surprised because this is coming from LeBron, who at one time was a big Cowboys fan. He was a diehard Cowboys fan, but when he saw how Jerry Jones treated his players during that whole Kaepernick situation. He pulled away from the Cowboys, and LeBron used his platform to say to the media, to the sports media, he says, "I'm surprised that none of you have asked me about the picture that surfaced of Jerry Jones when y'all were flooding me with questions about Kyrie." Nobody, had brought up to me about Jerry Jones, but y'all kept asking me, excuse me, about Kyrie, and so I'm glad that he used his platform to speak in that way. But those are my thoughts on the whole. Kyrie, Jerry, and Brett Favre. Now, this Kanye situation. This that's a whole other thing because I'm hearing that he went on this program called Infowars, which is hosted by Alex Jones, who many people may know as the person that tried to insinuate that the Sandy Hook shootings were a hoax, and recently he was made to pay. Um, he was made to pay those families for the trauma that he caused, and of course, he's fighting that. He's filed bankruptcy and whatnot, so he doesn't have to pay these people that money for all the hurt that he caused. But that guy, big conspiracy theories. But Kanye goes on his podcast, goes on his platform, and I'm hearing, just reading through social media, I'm hearing that in this thing, Kanye praised Adolf Hitler. That he was seemingly speaking of Hitler in glowing terms, and I mean a maniacal individual that was responsible for millions of deaths of Jews, who was a hater of black people, refused to shake the hand of Jesse Owens at the Olympics. Y'all forgive me. Uh, but I'm hearing that um, he spoke glowingly of Hitler on this platform, and I'm just here to tell y'all that this deal with Kanye, and I hate how people are tying the two of them together, Kanye and Kyrie, because I think they're two different thought processes, two different frames of thought. I just think that Kanye is on a whole other level, and it's too easy to dismiss it by saying he's dealing with some mental issues. It's too easy
to dismiss it by saying, he's still dealing with, he's still showing effects of having not dealt with the grief of losing his mother, and it's too easy. And maybe those things are in place, but it's too easy to dismiss the words that he's saying, the actions that he's displayed, by wrapping it up in those two things. At some point, he has to be held accountable, just like Jerry Jones, just like Brett Favre, just like they did with Kyrie. He has to be held accountable for some of this stuff that he's saying. How can you go on a conspiracy theorist platform who not only is a conspiracy theorist but is a white supremacist, and you go on this platform and you laud, and you nearly praise Adolf Hitler? How do you do that as an African American? How in the world do you even fix your thought process to think that Adolf Hitler is somebody who deserves any type of praise? And what's crazy about this, I told y'all I was looking at social media is crazy. That there are some people of color that look like me, that because they are Kanye fans, they are upholding the stuff that he's saying. No, man, at some point you got to back up. You've got to say, hey, I appreciate the genius of his music, but man, I can't agree with that. I can't agree with what you're saying there. How in the I'm concerned about Kanye on the one hand, and on the other hand, I'm done with that dude, because he doubles down on this stuff that he says and that he believes. I mean, he was just in Mar-a-Lago visiting the former president with a known white supremacist. He was there with that dude. This is the slavery was a choice type dude. Come on, man. At some point, we cannot give you these outs by saying you're still dealing with the grief of the passing of your mother, that you're dealing with this with you're dealing with mental illness. Some of this has to be you taking responsibility for your actions, because this is what I know: your now ex-wife is holding you accountable for taking care of those children to the tune of $200,000 a month. And your children are young. You got to do this till they 18. That's $200,000 a month. I saw some calculation somewhere. I think it's in the range of like 9.2 million a year that she's getting just from child support alone from him, because he's out there in left field, because he's doing this. Come on, man. Kanye, Kanye, listen, man. I think you're brilliant um, when it comes to making music. But bro, the reason why the Fox News of the world and the Infowars of the world and all of these other far right wing um, establishments are pulling you in is because they are using you to be the mouthpiece for what they really want to say and believe about us. And all they need is one. Look at what they're doing. Let me talk to Georgia for a minute, because this is Georgia is my state. That's why I wear this Atlanta Braves hat, because Georgia is my state. Born and raised in the state of Georgia, living in the state of Georgia right now. Um, I listen. Listen to me, Georgia. Listen, because we make fun of Florida, we make fun of Alabama and Mississippi. Listen to me. If y'all mess around and send Herschel Walker to the Senate, you have no room to talk about Florida, Mississippi, Alabama, or any other place, because that will be a colossal mistake of epic proportion. How in the world are you going to send a man to legislate on your behalf who couldn't even who wouldn't even be able to recognize his own name on a birthday cake? So how in the world do you think he's going to read legislation that's going to benefit you? Hear me and hear me. Y'all better get out and vote. Early voting is going on right now. You better get out there and vote. I can't tell you who to vote for, but I'm telling you, you better get out there and vote, because there is no way you're going to make me believe that he's going to be able to read legislation that's going to make life better for you. No, they are putting a puppet in office that they can control. That's why when you see him on these news interviews, lately you've seen him, he's got handlers with him. He's got Lindsey Graham, who is one of his handlers. He's got Ted Cruz with him, who is one of his handlers. He's got handlers with him. He's got these handlers with him now that's got to help him through these interviews, because he's making no sense. He's saying stuff like China is stealing our good air. He's talking about vampires and werewolves. What are we doing here? What are we really doing? If you send him to the Senate, what good? I'm telling you right now, he is not there for your interest. He has no idea about any of the legislation he's going to read, and they're going to tell him how he's bought and paid for. And right now, they're trying to figure out, is he really a citizen of Georgia, or is he a citizen of Texas? I don't even think, excuse me, I don't even think he had the sense enough to change his place of residence. And you mean to tell me that's the person that we're having a runoff with right now? Y'all got to be out of y'all's mind. Listen to me, Georgia. Y'all do the right thing. I'm just saying. I'm telling you. I'm telling you. Do the right thing. And send the sensible candidate to office. But y'all, y'all vote. I'm not gonna tell you who to vote for. I'm just telling you, it's gonna be hard for a person to read legislation that probably couldn't read his name on a birthday cake if it were in front of him. I listen. I got to hurry up. I'm getting close to the I'm getting close up to the hour mark. But before I go, one other thing that I want to kind of touch on is um, we've been seeing in the news the young lady that went to Cancun with her friends. Two other things that I want to talk about real quick. The young lady that went to Cancun with a group of friends, and within 24 hours, she was already dead. And I don't know if y'all have seen it, but I saw the video of her and the other young lady fighting. And there's some speculation. I don't know how true it is, but I've heard some speculation that it really was a transgender. That it's really a male that is transitioning. I don't know how true that is. I really don't know how true that is. But at any rate, we do see what looks like two women fighting, um, and there is now a warrant for um, that person's arrest. And what saddens me is she goes on this trip thinking that she's going with friends to celebrate somebody's birthday, and on the first day, within 24 hours, she ends up dead. And they tell the local authorities that she drank too much. And then, with a straight face, no remorse, no sorrow, they tell this girl's mother that she died from alcohol poisoning. But the examination by the medical examiner determines that she's got a severed spinal cord and a dislocated neck. And you tell this girl's mother that she died from alcohol poisoning. Do you know how cold blooded you have to be to tell somebody's mother with a straight face, with no remorse, no guilt, that she died of alcohol poisoning? And then y'all leave the country, leave her body behind, and the person that was closest to her goes to her mother's house to deliver the girl's belongings. They deliver the girl's belongings to her mother. The girl's body is still in Mexico. And in that woman's face to face, repeat the same lie that she died of alcohol poisoning. Like I said, they have an arrest warrant and an extradition request um, for one of the individuals. But I believe every last one of them ought to be on trial, especially the person that filmed it ought to be on trial. The person that invited her ought to be on trial, because you cannot make me believe that something about this was not premeditated. How does she show up in Cancun on the first day, and within the first day, she's dead? Folks, let me tell you something. Be careful of the people you travel with, friends of friends that you may not know. I'm just telling you, be careful. I'm not saying that you shouldn't travel with people. I'm not saying that you shouldn't travel with friends. I'm just saying be careful of the people that you travel with, because the people that you consider friends don't always consider you as a friend. And so just be careful. Just watch yourself, especially if you go into these foreign countries. Be careful of who you're with. Look out, look out for yourself. Keep your head on a swivel. Make sure that there's at least one person in the crowd that you can trust and that trusts you, that's gonna have your back. Just be careful. And here's the last thing that I'm gonna touch on. I'm grateful for y'all joining me, being with me. It's been a while since I've done this. I didn't know how good I would feel about doing it. It took me a while to come back and do it. I'm trying to figure out a time that I really want to do it. I think I want to do it more towards the morning time than later in the evening. The morning time feels better for me. Um, while it's daylight, I think that's the time. So y'all tell me what y'all think is a good time. What hours are good? Y'all let me know. I'm really leaning more towards the morning times. What day of the week you think is better? But y'all give me some insights. I'm wondering if I should do this like 5 days a week, 2 days a week, 3 days a week. I'm really trying to figure out how I want to do this, because there's enough going on in the world that we got a lot to talk about. So it ain't a lack of not having any material to talk about, because there's certainly enough. But here's the last thing I want to talk about. I got this post this morning from a real good friend of mine, Alvin Editing. Alvin Eddington. He sent me this morning. Sad story. Um, that it's nearly hard to believe, but the headline is child 10 years old shoots and kills mother because he was upset that she would not buy him a virtual reality headset. And then after he kills his mother, now he's 10. He's upset. When you read further into the story, he's upset, number one, because she woke him up early. And then number two, because she wouldn't buy him this virtual reality headset. And after he kills his mother, he's 10. After he kills his mother, he then goes into his mother's Amazon account and orders the headset himself. There's so much in that, and I hate that I brought this up, in the last 5 minutes of the show, but there's so much in that because what type of rage do you have? Because I believe in the story it talks about that he's been undergoing some counseling because of rage and anger and all of that. But what type of rage does a 10-year-old have that the thought of his mother telling him no, he can't have something, and who's to say that her plan wasn't to surprise him for Christmas? I don't know. But what type of rage does a 10-year-old have that his only response to his mother telling him no is to end her life, is to kill her? And then, seemingly without any remorse or any sense of guilt or any sense of the gravity of the situation, he goes into her Amazon account and orders the headset for himself. And it goes into this idea because he wants a virtual reality headset. Is his thinking that in the virtual reality world you can kill somebody and they come back, and so he doesn't understand the gravity of what he did? Is he believing that he's killed his mother and then she's going to get another life and she's going to get back up? Was that his thought process? I don't know. I can't fathom what was running through his mind. But what I want y'all to know is I have seen it in a lot of the young people that I have seen around the church and that I have seen around the way this younger generation, they are filled with anger and they are filled with rage, and for many of them they don't have an outlet by which they can get this rage and this anger out of them. They don't have an outlet to release it, and it is scary because many of them are growing up in a society where guns are very prevalent, where killing is very prevalent. How many mass shootings have we heard about just over the last few weeks? And so in this day and time when violence is spiking and seemingly guns are easily accessible, and we have these kids um, who are dealing with anger issues, who are dealing with um, rage issues, who are dealing with a lot of unresolved traumas and triggers. um, we've got to get them some help, man. We've got to get them in a space where they can talk to somebody, where they can somehow process um, all of the stuff that they're dealing with. We've got to be able to help them. I hate that for that family. I pray um, that the daughter who's in her 20s, I pray that she'll be able to talk to somebody and deal with the passing of her mother. And now her brother will be sent off to juvenile if they don't decide to charge him as an adult. But she's got to deal with that, and so I'm praying for her. I'm praying for her recovery. I'm praying for her health. I'm praying for her, um, just praying for her overall well-being. But we've got to do something. Listen, I've enjoyed y'all. Thank y'all for joining me. Thank y'all for indulging me. I hope you've enjoyed this segment of Cross Talks. I'll be back with you. I'm trying again to decide when we're going to do this. I really want to do it during the morning time. but I'm undecided on the time and days that I'm going to do this. But I thank y'all for riding with me. I thank you for your comments. I thank you for sharing in. I hope that this has been productive for you. Love y'all, man. And listen, thank y'all for praying for me as I recover. And listen, I'll see y'all next time. Y'all take care. God bless.